You are about to hear Before the Mayflower, A History of the Negro in America, 1619 to 1962, by Lerone Bennett, narrated by John Riddle. Copyright 2018, BN Publishing, online at bnpublishing.com. This book grew out of a series of articles which were published originally in Ebony magazine. The book, like the series, deals with the trials and triumphs of a group of Americans whose roots in the American soil are deeper than those of the Puritans who arrived on the celebrated Mayflower a year after a Dutch man-of-war deposited 20 Negroes at Jamestown. This is a history of the other Americans, and how they came to North America, and what happened to them when they got here. The story begins in Africa with the great empires of the Sudan and Nile Valley, and ends with the second Reconstruction which Martin Luther King Jr. and the sit-in generation are fashioning in the North and South. The story deals with the rise and growth of slavery and segregation, and the continuing efforts of Negro Americans to answer the question of the Jewish poet of captivity, "How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?" This history is founded on the work of scholars and specialists and is designed for the average reader. It is not, strictly speaking, a book for scholars, but it is as scholarly as 14 months of research could make it. Readers who would like to follow the story in greater detail are urged to read each chapter in connection with the outline of Negro history in the appendix. Without the help and encouragement of many people, this book would not have been possible. John H. Johnson, president of Johnson Publishing Company, conceived the idea for the series and made it possible for me to spend 14 months researching and writing it. The editors of Johnson Publishing Company were also helpful with suggestions and criticisms. I am especially indebted to the managing editors of Ebony, Herbert Nipson and Arabelle Thompson, and Doris Saunders, Lucille Finney, Basil Phillips, Norman Hunter, Ariel Strong, Herbert Temple, Lacey Crawford, and Robert E. Johnson. I should like to express my appreciation to the personnel of the University of Chicago Library, the Johnson Publishing Company Library, the Hall Branch of the Chicago Public Library, and the Chicago Historical Society. My wife Gloria also has many thanks for her suggestions and understanding. Whatever virtues this book has are due to the help and encouragement of other people. The errors are my own. When this material appeared in Ebony magazine in an abridged form, a great many readers, Negroes and whites, were surprised by the depth of involvement of Negroes in the American experience. They were surprised, for example, to discover that Negroes were at Lexington and Concord, and that they stood with Andrew Jackson at the Battle of New Orleans, and with William Lloyd Garrison in the battle against slavery. The reader, I believe, will be astonished by the richness of the Negro's heritage. He will also perceive, I hope, that this story is relevant to the struggle of all men, and that it is a moving chapter in the whole human drama. Lerone Bennett, Jr., August 1962, Chicago, Illinois. Chapter 1. The African Past. What is Africa to me? Copper sun or scarlet sea? Jungle star or jungle track? Strong bronzed men or regal black? Women from whose loins I sprang when the birds of Eden sang? County Cullen. A series of revolutionary discoveries has spurred a radical reevaluation of the strong bronzed men and regal black women from whose loins sprang 1 out of every 10 Americans. This reevaluation has yielded a new perspective on African and human history. Africa, long considered the Dark Continent, is now regarded as the place where man first received light. Ancient Africans, long considered primitive and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?